Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin from Florals.com, and today I am introducing a new series for 2017. It is called Stretch Your Stash. So this is a series based on looking at your stash differently and trying to use up things that you should have already but you just keep buying and they're really cute and you know how it goes. So today we're focusing on buttons, and I'm making them a focal point of this layout instead of the normal like, oh, here's a button there or there. So this is really a power piece. So what I did was draw a heart and pencil on my white cardstock here, and I'm going to put clear gesso on it now. But I picked out enough buttons to fill up the heart, but I wanted to use a color scheme of like pinks, purples, and blues. So that's why it's important to pick out your buttons first, because I almost didn't have enough. You'll see later that there's a giant gap in the middle of my heart, which I cover up anyways, but it was still one of those things like, oh, I should have checked first, so I'm glad I did. I also know I'm going to do some mixed media on this piece, so I've decided to use a blue recollection spray, and then I think it's the coral spray from Tim Holtz, the distress spray. I'm still waiting for the gesso to dry, so I'm going to map my photo using some pink cardstock. Oh, looks like I'm going to do the packaging technique first. So this is an easy technique where you just spray your spray on a piece of plastic and then you'll smush it around on your page. This actually turned out lighter than I wanted it to be, but it's the only blue I had at home here. And I also do the red one, which is actually a lot darker than I wanted it to be. I really have problems with like red things like this because I often feel like they look like blood, but it was more of a coral when it finally dried, so that's the good news, I guess. And although this is a very tedious process, you'll see me gluing on buttons shortly, but although it's a tedious process, it was very relaxing in some sort of way. I don't know why, but I really liked gluing all these buttons down and like picking out where they went and switching up the colors next to each other and all the different sizes. And it really turned out pretty well in the end, I thought. So I'm scrapbooking these two photos of my cat. His name is Ted, and it's actually on his blanket, which is pink, blue, and purple. So that's where the color scheme came from for this basic layout, but it's just a fun way to use up buttons. You can also do this with like enamel dots or wood veneer if you have those. I don't have enough of those to do this with, but if I did, I probably would. But I just thought buttons were such a unique thing that a lot of people have, and there's so many different styles, and this is a great way to showcase them and make them the focal point. So again, this pink cardstock is from Paper Studio, I believe, so that's the Hobby Lobby brand of cardstock there. So I'm just going to dab a few more dots of this up, and it's actually not fully dry when I finally do start gluing, and you'll see some of the splatter smear, but that's okay because the buttons cover it up. A thing I wish I did before I did this part was trace my heart either with a black pen or with some stitching. I recently purchased a paper piercer online, so I'm waiting for that to come in before I really get into the sewing trend. So I decided to do a black line on my heart, which you'll see in the photos, I believe, but not in the video because I didn't think of it till after. But I really like how this button process worked. You don't have to use wet glue. It was actually quite messy. I wish I used some sort of other glue, but this is what worked out best. And you can lay them out before you glue them down, which is probably a better idea because I almost ran out of buttons because I put the ones on the left-hand side of the heart very close together, and the ones on the right-hand side of the heart were a little more spaced out, which you'll be able to see in the photos, but it's not like extreme. It's just a little noticeable. But I'm using just some Scotch Quick Dry adhesive, now just called Scotch adhesive, I think. I'm not sure. You'll see the gap there. But the pictures are just going to lay right on top. And this has a lot of versatility with shape. You can do a star or a circle, which is a lot more basic and probably easier to fill in, or a square or a rectangle or a smaller piece. But right now I'm going to finish off with a few simple embellishments. I really want the buttons to be the main focus. And if I'm looking back at this now, I wish I didn't mat this on another piece of paper like I did, even though it's really curling up and stuff. It'll look fine in the album without it. But I'm using some crochet thread and a piece of die cut leaves that I cut a few months ago maybe, and I just wanted to use up from Sizzix and this Doodlebug doily as well. And then one of my favorite pieces that I'm using on this are these really, really old fish paper clips, so like cats eat fish, you know, whatever that goes. So I thought that was really cute. And then I'll also be using some label pieces from L Studio later on. But this series, really, I wanted to do a challenge for not only myself, but for you guys. So if you guys want to play along with these, that'd be great. So this week's focus was buttons. I hope you do something like this with a star or an initial even. I have some more ideas on my blog, not picture ideas, but I've listed out some ideas as well. So in case you guys wanted to try this out and wanted some more ideas, there's some. I know a lot of people have probably done this in the past, but I just went for a heart because I love my cat. So these are the L Studio pieces I was talking about. I believe they are from the Sienna collection. I'm not sure if they're still selling it because it was on clearance for a while, so it may still be there, it might not. Then I also have this washi tape from, I believe it's from Freckled Fawn, that I'll be using later once I mat the paper onto some purple cardstock. So what the main problem was with this layout, it was so heavy. I cannot express to you how heavy this many buttons made it. Plus all the water on top and the gesso and the mixed media, it really just made it very, very heavy. And then I decided I wanted to trim it, and then I was going to trim it on all 4 sides, but then I realized the buttons were in the way, so I only got to trim it on 2 sides, which is fine. So there's a top border and a bottom border of purple cardstock. And even with the purple cardstock on the back side of this, it was still so heavy. I cannot express to you, like, I don't even know how many buttons I used, but there's a lot there. If I had to guess, I'd say at least 50, but there might be more. But this was a really fun thing to do. I had a lot of fun doing it. Like here you'll see I can't cut it anymore, so I decided to cut some more off the bottom. And since it was curling so much, it was also very hard to cut, but that's okay. I made it work. And I did freehand this heart shape, but you can easily just cut and trace something off the internet. It's another easy way to get a nice shape. So now I'm just putting some ATG down, which was very scary. I don't know how anyone ever does things like this. Like, this was so heavy to try to line up, but that's okay. I made it work. So I put this on crookedly, and then I realized that the purple cardstock isn't 12 by 12, or the white cardstock is longer than 12 by 12, so I have to trim that later. And this layout was quite the mess, but it turned out so cute, I thought. And used up a ton of buttons, so now I don't have any, like, blue, purple, or pink buttons left, but that's besides the point. There's still plenty of buttons to be had. A lot of brown buttons, which I was really surprised by, but that's okay. So I'm doing that little cluster in the top left, and I'll end up putting my title in the bottom right, so they balance each other out a little bit. I'm going to put a few dimensionals on the back of my photo piece because of the gap in the middle, and I didn't want my photo to sink in and get weird ridges. So I used some of those Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, which in retrospect probably weren't even thick enough. But since I came home for winter break, I don't have any of my foam pieces to cut up. And I've left a lot of things at school that I really miss. So I'm scrapbooking with the basics here apparently. But I have a lot of fun things lined up for 2017, and I hope you guys subscribe to see more of that. This layout is almost complete. I will complete it with a title using puffy stickers from Freckled Fawn again. That was in my latest haul video if you want to go check those out. But that's pretty much it for this layout. Please give this a thumbs up if you like this series. I hope to bring more to you soon. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!